How do you preserve family wealth through generations? Well, Carien Strauss joins us from Cape Town now to provide some solutions. She's from Sanlam. Good morning to you, Carien. Now, implicit in the question we're asking, which is how do you preserve family wealth through generations, suggests that many families do not preserve their wealth through generations. So what's the problem?
Hi, David. Yes, it's actually very interesting. If you look at the statistics, they say about 70% of the family wealth will be squandered by the second generation family. And by the time it hits the third generation family, about 90% of it will be lost. Now, that is an astonishing figure to look at. And research has shown that the main reasons for that is, firstly, a distrust among family members. And secondly, a lack of communication between them. And then also another primary reason is a failure by parents to properly prepare their children to manage this sudden windfall responsibly. And funny enough, secondary reasons are cited as, extravagant lifestyle, excessive spending, inheritance taxes that's payable on death, and then also, poor investment advice. So those are the main reasons cited for the loss of family wealth.
Carien, you are a fiduciary and tax specialist, and one of the things I was running through about why we've got problems with families not preserving their wealth, they talk about estate tax planning. How important is that, and exactly what does that entail?
Well, as I just said, it's listed actually as one of the secondary reasons for a loss of family wealth, and what typically happens is poor estate planning leads to the slowdown in the winding up of the estate and the administration of the estate, and then also unexpected inheritance taxes that needs to be paid that were not properly planned for. And I can imagine that this results in frustration for the family members, which leads to unnecessary conflict between them, and then that then leads to the primary reason for the loss of family wealth, which is distrust among family members, and then also a lack of communication between them. So it's important and imperative to get that estate planning and succession planning right.
Carien, looking at estate planning, apart from disagreements among families or lack of trust, it's also a delicate subject. So, the parents, when they die, it gets passed on. Not a subject that's easy to talk about. Is it true that families, not so much a lack of trust, but simply avoid the subject and end up in a mess?
Yes, David, that is absolutely true. We find that in most of the times where the family wealth is lost, it's due to improper or not a proper education of the kids and the younger family members, and that they weren't involved at a younger age already, and they were not really actively engaged in the family business as such. And then when they do receive the sudden windfall or this big estate, that they feel overwhelmed and they don't know what to do.
So, Carien, what are the practical steps that you can tell us or give us? We do know that we do need to plan. We spoke about tax. We spoke about having good communication between the family members. So, what are the practical steps that we can implement?
I think a first step for family members would be to initiate the conversation, to have an open dialogue with their children, to tell them about the family wealth and the family heritage, and also to involve them in an active conversation on the vision of the family going forward. That would be a great first step. And then secondly, involve them in the decision making of the family business. It would be a good idea to invite them to meetings that you have with the trusted advisors of the family. If you have a family trust, invite them to trustee meetings. And if you feel that they're ready for it, you can even add them as trustee on the trust and delegate certain administration functions to them. This is very important because it helps cement the relationship that you have with the family advisors, and it also helps them to understand the rationale between or of certain decisions that were made by the family along the way.
Now, also, people like yourselves, I'm not sure if you're comparable in the role that you play or Sanlam plays compared to the banks. I know my bank, the other day, they made quite a big pitch for doing your will and your estate planning and revision of your will through them. The fee is 3.5%, which doesn't sound like a lot when you're talking and it's all theory. But in practice, when the amounts come up, 3.5% can turn out to be a lot of money. What about the fees aspect of advising people? And maybe it's the one area which advisors don't emphasize because they benefit.
David, that is absolutely true. The fee that you're speaking about is the maximum fee that the executor of your estate can charge in terms of legislation. A lot of people don't know this, but you are welcome to negotiate a lower fee with your executor when you set up the will, so that option is also there. But I think an important thing that a lot of families do miss is that you really need to properly financially educate your children. Now with this, we don't mean that they need a degree in finance or that they need a degree in business, but actively involve them. If they are trustees on the family trust, send them for trustee training by professionals in the industry. And this is really, like I said at the beginning, one of the main reasons why the family wealth is lost. And one of the things that you can address now already to prepare the family members for that sudden windfall. And then fees like the executor's fees, it's small in comparison to the amount of wealth that is lost by them not being properly educated.
Carien, thanks for that. That was Carien Strauss. She is a fiduciary and tax specialist at Sanlam.